Donald Trump has attacked and successfully defunded public media and continues to wage an all-out culture war on higher education. But for years, Trump allies have also been eyeing a self-described pro-American kids edutainment company called PragerU. And recently, the Trump administration has been cozying up to it. PragerU was founded by controversial conservative talk show host Dennis Prager. His team creates kid-friendly cartoons and patriotic content that extols conservative values. And despite its name, it's not a university or any kind of accredited academic institution. Still, the White House hosted the nonprofit in June to unveil its so-called Founders Museum, and Education Secretary Linda McMahon lavished praise on it. And as of today, 10 states have approved PragerU as an educational source. And to give you an idea of the kind of history PragerU promotes to children, we want to show you this clip from a cartoon that shows kids traveling back in time to speak to Christopher Columbus and learn about slavery.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Joining us now is Republican State Representative Gabe Woolley from Oklahoma. That's one of the 10 states that's using PragerU in some classrooms. And it's good to see you, Representative Woolley. You have used PragerU when you were a teacher. That clip, it just said being taken as a slave is better than being killed. Fake Christopher Columbus basically just said he sees no problem. Have you ever shown that video to students? And do you think that's an accurate and appropriate way to teach about American history?
I have shown the video, and he didn't say that there was no problem. I believe what he said was that slavery was better than death. I think what they're alluding to is that if you're still alive, you have the opportunity for change and for freedom and for reformation to come.
So Gabe, that's not what but the video didn't say that. The video didn't say that if you're still alive, you have the opportunity for freedom and change and things to come. You're implying that, and so I would ask, is that what you actually imparted to the students after showing them that video? Because it certainly isn't explicitly stated as part of what we saw in that clip.
Well, when he's talking about slavery being better than death, that would imply that. So obviously the teachers would be able to go into more detail with certain things. These videos are used as supplements. They're not used as the whole lesson. So you would typically go through your curriculum approved by the state and by the district, and then you would supplement things that could add a visual aspect to it, do projects, hands-on activities, and things like this. So there always is the room for more detail to be laid out in the classroom.
But what's the point of offering Christopher Columbus seemingly downplaying the horrors of American slavery? He's basically saying, oh, I see it all over the place. And he does say there that he doesn't see a problem. And, you know, historians, teachers, they have all kinds of materials to teach about U.S. History and slavery to students, including accounts from slaves themselves, describing how horrific that institution was, not just in the United States, but in other parts of the globe. Why turn to something like this that has an open ideological bent? I mean, PragerU doesn't even try to hide that they identify as conservative. Why turn to that when there are so many other good primary sources you could expose your students to?
I think this is just an option. The State Department of Education is not requiring that the schools use this. It's available on their state website. It can be used if you want to use it or not. Whether a district chooses to adopt that is up to them. They have local control in that policy. I anticipate that perhaps some districts will and some districts won't.
So why did you choose to show that video then? If you're saying it's up to you, then it means it's in your classroom. You made a decision. You looked at that video. You heard that video. It's not from any peer-reviewed, accredited, as we've mentioned, academically verified material. Why would you use material that is politically indoctrinating to teach to students? And do the parents of your students know that you are sharing material that is politically and ideologically not academic, to say it very neutrally, and at the very least, right-leaning?
I mean, I think Christopher Columbus is an academic figure, is a person from history, and it's talking about how slavery was all over the world, which is absolutely true. And I think it highlights the atrocities of slavery. This is a video that I knew I wouldn't have to worry about it having any type of inappropriate content on it. I had viewed the video beforehand, and we have many other things that are certainly political in other classrooms in New York. There's the 1619 Project, things like this that are very controversial as well, that talk about how slavery was basically the reason for the American Revolution was to solidify and protect slavery, which is not true. It was for independence from another nation. So I think it's interesting that we are having this conversation when we've been having all these other contents around the classroom. But I see something here that's historically accurate. It adds the visual aspect to it. I think it's just politically charged because people have said that PragerU is far right leaning, but what I've seen in today's day and age, that what the far right, what people are categorizing as the far right, simply seems to be logic and reasoning versus an emotional argument where something is twisted and changed to fit someone's emotions and because they feel uncomfortable about something. And I don't agree with that, much like the 1619 Project.
Do your parents, I was going to say really quick, but do the parents of your students know that you're teaching stuff that is not peer reviewed and academically substantiated?
I have not gone through every video that we've shown. We make sure that it's school appropriate. I have spoken to administration before. I've had other teachers in and out of the classroom. This is something where we find an appropriate video and we utilize it as a supplement for the lesson. Teachers use videos on YouTube all the time. And this is something that I knew would be safe and would not have any particular ads coming up. There have been in classrooms before where you're on YouTube, there are ads that could be inappropriate that would display on the screen, but I can go through the PragerU website and I don't have to worry about that issue.
So these aren't cheap videos. Let's just broaden out a bit. You're a conservative. It's so, in this era of Doge and everything is, attempting to be cut. And certainly with education, I know that school lunches, free school lunches, that's always an issue, providing students with food. Is this really the best use of the state, the Department of Education's funding to, it's just not really impressive at all. I don't think it's going to make test scores rise. And increase our, math and science understanding. I'm all for history. I love history, but it just isn't that impressive. Like, why are we wasting money on this kind of content?
I think you have to look at the risk factors when you talk about the content that's being used. I mean, I talked about the ads that come up. I talked about other agendas that could be infiltrated into things. I give the example of the 1619 Project. Oklahoma is a majority red state, and we have a majority Republican body, and we're looking for something that is safe for children, that is historically accurate, that we can sort of get around any of these potential inappropriate things that could creep in through the internet. The internet is very vast. You have to be very careful. So again, I just think that utilizing something like this that has its own platform is, again, just an option for teachers and districts. It's not a requirement. So it's something to explore when there are plenty of other resources out there as well.
You keep suggesting that there is an element of sort of teacher choice here, local control, but we've recently learned that your state, Oklahoma, is actually partnering with PragerU to basically develop a test that Ryan Walters, who I know he leads education in your state, will use to weed out, quote, woke teachers. That means that PragerU has a sort of unprecedented partnership and relationship with state publicly funded education and programming, that they'll even have a say in teacher certification in your state. That does not sound like local control or parental say to me, which is something that when it comes to the education culture wars, conservatives keep saying they wanted to give back to the parents. This seems like a very top-down ideological bent where, you're calling it indoctrination when the 1619 Project or New York Times does it, but you're all for it if it's someone who agrees with your worldview.
But again, I just take it back to the logic versus reasoning. I think we have the thing here we've seen with politics, and it's made its way into the classroom. There's emotional arguments that we cater to making someone feel good, and then there's truth, and then there's facts. And what I have seen is the right, and why I'm a conservative and why I could not be a Democrat is because of this and where we found ourselves in the modern day age. So we need to get away from the left's infiltrated the classroom very much. They've infiltrated school boards, city councils.
They never forced anyone to take a prove your left heft enough quiz to get your teacher certification.
They're not banning books either.
And they're also not making false equivalencies that are not, in fact, historical or based in fact when you're talking about the legacy of chattel slavery in America and how it continues to actually impact disproportionately people who you actually may be teaching.
Yeah, you hit on a number of things. I've certainly pulled books off of the shelf in classrooms that I have worked in, so those books are definitely there. We should not be having any type of sexualized content in the classroom. So that's just a wild idea to me that we wouldn't remove that book and that people would call it book banning. Book relocation, maybe if a parent wants to purchase that book for their child, that's on them. But in the classroom that's funded by the taxpayers, that's certainly not appropriate. And we definitely will not be delivering or fostering that to the students in Oklahoma. Our objective is to protect students and to educate students. But to the issue that you kind of highlighted on with the race issue and talking about minority groups and things like this. I mean, I think, again, I just want to go back to this idea that I really just feel like politically we're in a place and time where we have a battle of emotion versus logic and continuously trying to highlight these things, these aspects about people that they can't change, that they shouldn't have to want to ever change, such as their gender, male and female, or their race, and trying to lean into this causes division in our nation and in our state. We don't want a spirit of division in our nation and in our state here in Oklahoma. We want there to be facts taught. We want there to be history that's accurate. We want there to be opportunities for teachers to supplement things if they choose to use it or not. And that's where we're moving in the state of Oklahoma. And I agree with Ryan Walters and what we're doing on this. It's going to be an option. It's going to be a local control issue.
Do you agree with the use of a quiz to try to weed out teachers who may have global or cultural perspective that Ryan Walters or Dennis Prager don't like? You think that that's a good move for an educational system designed to serve all children in your state? Do you support that?
This quiz, when this quiz is complete and we get to see the questions, and if the legislature gets to review this, or I can certainly be requesting it on behalf of my district, I will definitely take a look at the question specifically. But from the examples that I've heard, I don't have any problem with this. Again, it's just getting back to the basics. It's just talking about the American principles. We literally live in America, so go figure. I think that makes a lot of sense. And it is an opportunity for teachers to take that assessment and see if they align with Oklahoma values. It absolutely is our job to be paying attention who's coming in to our state, into our classroom, and infiltrating those classrooms, educating students, and parents are the number one stakeholders in education. And we should be reflective of the values we have here in Oklahoma and in the classroom with that. So I think this assessment is a step in the right direction. I also think it's a work in progress. And we at the legislature can absolutely review this and have discussions and petition for changes. This is going to be an ongoing conversation. This isn't even a done deal in this case. And so it's going to be a work in progress, very much so. But again, with Oklahoma values that we're putting forward, America First values, that is what America voted for in all 77 counties of Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State Representative Gabe Woolley.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.